Okay, so I'm getting a little bit of an issue here with the stone because it appears that the heat treatment has affected the stone here and made it a little shattery. But hopefully I'll be able to power through that with some heavy pressure. Now, the more carefully you prepare these edges, the better. But you'll have to get the feel for your particular type of stone as to how much abrading is necessary. I'm going to try to do a long flake here. A lot of heavy pressure on that one. Now, does the pad interfere with the travel of the flake? Yes, it does. Especially when it's really thick like this, the pad will stop the flake. But I'm not too concerned about getting a flake that goes, all the way across, because there's a danger of overshot. I'm probably still going to get a few overshots by accident as we progress, but that's just part of the deal. Can't avoid those sometimes. So yeah, I'm pushing inward, try to get longer flakes. Now the width to thickness ratio, it's probably 2 to 1 right now. It's twice as wide as it is thick. 2 to 1. But I haven't, let's see. Yeah, I don't have my tape measure. Anyway, you get the idea. It's pretty thick. A lot of you guys just want to make hunting points. So I think what I'll do is make a type of hunting point. Nothing fancy. Or maybe something fancy, I don't know. We'll see. Now it's important that the surface of the material be smooth and consistent, right? You don't want step fractures. You don't want to be pressure flaking through step fractures. But I'm going to just do it anyway, just to see what happens. Sometimes you can get a flake to travel as long as you are careful. I think I'm going to press a flake off here to try to get it to sneak past this area and get into this area a little bit more. We'll see what happens. It's not ideal. It should lower that platform. Let's see. Yeah. I don't want to lose too much width. That's another thing too. But just to make it harder on myself, I'm going to lose width where I shouldn't. Normally I wouldn't do that. I'd probably flake this way first and then flake that way. Instead of just wasting the width, I would use a flake this way and I'd still get a lowered platform, but I also get some mass taken off of here. So the conservation of the edge is important. But a lot of new nappers don't know how to do that. Okay. So that was a good, nice, yeah, there you go. I put a lot of pressure on it. I was hoping it would go further than that, though. Okay. One nice thing about steel is you can do this little picking of the step fractures. I may just take a percussion flake to get rid of that. I'm going to start getting tired really fast if I can't, or if I do too much pressure. Let's see, I'm going to try one more. See if I can run a flake from here, from here, run it this way. Try to get some of that. If not, I'll just hit it with a percussion flake. Now, would it be better if I had a slotted pad? It might be better, yeah. But let's see. I do have a new pad from my friend Sean in Canada. He sent me some. He's the closest thing I've got to a sponsor of the channel. He sends me these leather pads. So if you're watching, Sean, thank you very much. I'll put a link to his company in the description. Okay. This one doesn't have a slot in it. Let's see. That's the latest one. That's pretty cool. I like domed pads. Okay, so let's see. I'll just continue with this one. Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. But if I hit it with a percussion flake, you're going to see a difference. So I'm turning the edge, I'm brushing down or pecking down with the flaker to get the edge closer to the other side. So I can run flakes on this side. As right now I got a turtle back on that side. Now I could be, carefully doing this to the edge. Why do I always frantically scrape the edge like that instead of, carefully going around and braiding inside and around and doing more scrunching, I guess they call it. That just takes too long. It's just me. I think it takes too long. Besides, I can't do percussion at the same time. This is not a percussion technique, you know what I mean? It will do the same as percussion by getting in there and slowly crushing and really braiding in there. It does the same kind of thing as doing this, but sometimes I can generate a really powerful strike and get a percussion flake to come off. A large, relatively large percussion flake. And it just saves me time to do it this way. I always make more than one point when I nap at a time. I try to make 2 or 3. At least. So yeah, I'm going to take a percussion flake a little bit later to clear this off. But for now, I think I want to do some pressure on the other side. See how that goes. See if I can generate a really good flake here. Nope. Well, it kind of spread out too much. When it spreads out, you lose energy, and it doesn't plow through. If it was a longer flake, it would plow through that and go across. But this one was mainly a downward pressure flake because I wasn't able to generate inward pressure enough. I wasn't able to generate enough inward pressure, I should say. Okay. Now I have been doing a lot of pressure flaking lately. I have been, just to get practice, because I really don't do much intensive pressure. But I'm going to be getting into Cody points. I can do Cody points with percussion, but I'll be getting into it with pressure. You know, the Edens and the Scottsbluff, that kind of thing. Because they are easier to replicate with pressure. So yeah, if you're at this stage, right, if this is how you're developing your preforms and you don't have the ability to thin them down, hopefully this will help you out. I'm still not at the stage where I'm actually trying to thin. I'm trying to get the surface cleaned up and more consistent. To get some of these turtlebacks off, or to get this one off, I'm probably going to have to hit it with at least 1 or 2 percussion flakes. You know, I'm going to have to hit this with one percussion flake here, at least. So yeah, before it gets too much smaller, I'm going to take out the percussion flaker. Okay. Now, if I was doing this on my own, right, and I had a chunky piece and I had whittled it down to this form, I would finish the rest of it out with percussion, indirect percussion, and then do the final pressure work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just attack certain areas strategically with the percussion and then go back to pressure. So I'm going to hit this area with percussion, 1 or 2 flakes, and the turtleback with percussion, 2 or 3 flakes, and then go back to pressure. Now, do I see a good opportunity? Actually, I don't. I need to turn the edge a little bit better. Yeah, I already abraded it too much. I need to take back the edge a little bit more so I can have a better platform for percussion. Well, I'll just go with it. Let's see. In a perfect world, I would prepare better, but oh well. So which part do I do first? I usually attack the worst areas first, so let's do that. Now, let's see, could I do that with pressure? That's the thing. On something of this size, I don't think I could generate that much force with a pressure flaker, although I might be able to. With a pressure flaker like a long Ishii stick and maybe a tip this wide, right? And a little more practice, I could probably generate that with pressure. Yeah, if I had a nice long Ishii stick and I was able to use both my legs and the Ishii stick and the flexibility of the Ishii stick, because that's important too. If the Ishii stick is slightly flexible and a larger tip with a larger surface area, and then follow through as slow as possible on the follow through, I think I could do that with pressure. Or build up to it, build up my strength to be able to do that. Anyway, let's see. One more percussion to get rid of that rest of that turtleback. Let's see. Now, are the platforms the same with pressure and percussion? That's another controversial area. I think they're all the same. Basically, they're all the same. All the platforms are the same. It just depends on how much force you're using. You have to beef up the platform with more force. If you've got a lot of force that you're planning on using, that platform's got to be strong, or that edge has to be rounded off. But the angle is the same. The angle of a platform is going to be about the same, if not exactly the same, for percussion or pressure. At least for indirect percussion or punch work. Now that one I should have struck in harder because it didn't go. It would have went all the way if I had hit it harder. But it may have overshot also. So one more side from the other, one more flake from the other side, and I should be able to get it. No. No, I might be able to take one more. Okay, still got a lump here, but I'm going to try to do as much as I can with just pressure to fix those problems. Okay, so I cleared that up a little bit. All right. So go back to pressure and see if I can fix that up. See, I'm starting to block the view. I think you might still be able to see that. Now, why did I get such an irregular surface on there? It's mainly because of the steel. I still got to practice on how to get longer flakes with the steel. That abrupt stop on the flake is pretty common with a steel tip because you're getting a bounce, right? So it doesn't follow all the way through with a strike. The steel will bounce, and you'll get an incomplete flake. It'll stop. It could have also been that it was just too much of a turtleback for this type of stone to handle. Like it's brittle, right? It's heat treated, so as it goes in, if it hits a spot that's really challenging, it'll snap just because of the nature of the weakness of the stone, or just because of the weakness of the stone. It won't really be able to power through because it doesn't have the amount of strength needed to power through those areas. So it could be one of those issues or both of those issues. Okay, so I'm just going to go here maybe at random. I can't remember where I was at, and try to get the surface evened out for a final pass of flakes that should flatten this out and thin it out more. Now, should I have a large Ishi stick for this? Should I be using something? Yeah, probably, but oh well. A lot of you guys don't have large Ishi sticks, so I'll just use that as an excuse. That was pretty good. So yeah, the key is just to be able to get a good seat on the surface. And they don't even need to look like a platform, as long as it's a good surface and as long as it looks strong and you've got a good convexity underneath. It's got to be convex underneath. I don't know how to explain it, but you can't have a dished out area underneath because it's just going to pop off a small flake. You need to have some convexity underneath, and make sure following a ridge is good, but even if you see a ridge, that ridge might be deceptive because it might not be convex. It might not be rounded like this. It might scoop in a little bit. If it scoops in, you've got to get rid of that little concavity by, nipping on the edge there until you get the bottom surface that is slowly curving into the edge so that you have a good convexity. And then you can press off a flake. And remember to follow through. And picture in your mind that you're trying to go slow. Okay, this should be stronger now. It was stronger, but I might have had some cracks in there before I started. With that first little pop, I may have cracked it. So then the second time I tried it, it didn't go all the way. I'm going to try to move over and press off one more flake here, just kind of. It's not optimal. I'm going to go try to jump all the way through and blast through this mess here. Try to get that flake to, from here, I'm going to press off a flake from here. Try to blast through all of that just with a lot of pressure. No, the platform is too rounded. It's too slick. I can't get a good seat. So just get rid of the rounded part. Should be able to seat better. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So yeah, I was able to blast through most of that stuff. You can see that side is getting kind of flat now. The percussion strikes really did help quite a bit. So now I'm just evening out the surface. I got a lot of scoop outs. See, a lot of these are scooped out, so I've got to make the surface more even. Just very short flakes. It's better to have platforms that are just a little bit too strong than too weak. You know what I mean? It's okay if you struggle with being able to generate enough force. That's better than having those platforms just fail on you and crush every time you try. So if you're having difficulty pressing off flakes because the platforms are too strong, that's better than having platforms that are too weak. You just have to build up your strength. Or, regulate your platforms just a little bit better and make them a little bit less strong. Okay, I'll try to go faster. And it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's best not to have any step fractures on the surface at this stage. If you're going to run a pass of thinning pressure flakes, it's best not to have any step fractures on the surface, or minimize it. I know that's going to be difficult with a lot of different materials out there, but that's your goal. I'll pause it right there, but I think you can see how this is progressing. Maybe this needs one more percussion flake on this side. We should be good.